This is RSA Insurance Planning 2.0, the new insurance paradigm. Welcome, everybody. This is an advice-oriented series for Canadian businesses, entrepreneurs, and insurance brokers. I'm Kenneth Evans, and I'll be your host and moderator. RSA Insurance developed this podcast series to bring fresh ideas and strategies to brokers and businesses in search of more rigorous insurance planning solutions. Over the course of the series, we'll be speaking with experts in a number of fields to demonstrate the strategic value of commercial insurance planning. A field once perceived as offering a portfolio of products or policies has really now evolved into a set of innovative and customized strategies that enhance the long-term viability of businesses. It really is a key part of an overall business plan. To get a closer, more in-depth look into the new face of insurance, I'm joined today by three seasoned experts, including Robert Patzelt, Vice President, Risk Management and General Counsel, Scotia Investments; Paul Croft, Senior Vice President, Regional Manager of Client Services, Aon; and Pat McNally, Regional Vice President of the Atlantic Region for RSA Insurance. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Robert, as a risk management expert, how does insurance fit into the overall risk management umbrella for a business?
It's an interesting question in the sense that for a while there, people were riding on newness of this concept of risk management and that insurance somehow became passé. But the reality of it is that it is a key strategic part of the risk management portfolio of techniques and strategies you use. It's quite simple. You take a finite known commodity, your money, and you're giving that to someone else to transfer an unknown risk, be it for the possible payment of a claim, be it liability or property. So it remains an important key. What has changed over time is the breadth of products and the customization of those products to meet the needs of the client.
Yeah, and I guess it goes back to the point I made earlier, is in some circles, insurance is being sort of a necessary evil, but now it is seen much more strategically. Would you agree with that?
In our case, it certainly has.
Paul, you're an innovator in the field of strategic insurance planning. I'd be interested to know how the collaborative approach to your work is different than, let's say, conventional or traditional ways.
Well, a lot of the initial insurance collaboration with brokers and clients tended to be more of a traditional transactional approach, and there really was not a lot of long-term buy-in from either party. With respect to Scotia Investments and RSA, their relationship is one that's built entirely on collaboration, and it's built around really identifying and focusing on optimizing the total cost of risk and designing a program that really meets the needs of Scotia Investments and its business challenges and opportunities.
Excellent. And Pat, if I turn it over to you from RSA Insurance, if you think of the more transactional approach to insurance planning, what effect does that have on the ability to customize?
Well, as Paul said, it was not only transactional between the client and the broker, but also transactional between the broker and the company. What happens in a more collaborative scenario like we've been working with, we get a better buy-in from the broker and we get a better buy-in from the customer on the various issues surrounding risk management, which means at the end of the day, we're able to have a greater leeway and ability in setting price, accepting higher limits, and backing the client in new ventures or as they change their ventures and be able to provide the coverages to the conditions that they need.
And Robert, if I turn it to you for a second, as the commercial client, what is the advantage to you directly working in collaboration with, the broker, Paul, and the insurance company being RSA?
Two of the three things that a business wants to do besides earn more revenue is to control its costs and, control its risk. And, having this good relationship focuses on the last two. We get a better product, better service, a very competitive program, and so that handles the cost side of it. But then we also have a more predictability of results. We have a close relationship, so we know what it is we're buying. There's an understanding of the exposures from both sides. It's priced accordingly, and right through all the way to the end to the claims process. So for us, it goes straight to the bottom line.
Paul, if you think about it, because I'd like to get a sort of sense of how this works in practice, if you think about how the three of you have been able to put these strategies and innovation into practice, perhaps walk me through a little bit of what that looks like or how it works.
Well, it really is, as we discussed earlier, a very collaborative approach. So there's a lot of discussion that's going back and forth with respect to understanding and identifying the needs of any particular issue at hand, and then really trying to design that program so that it meets the ongoing needs long term and delivers value for Scotia Investments.
Paul, what are the kinds of industries that, especially you and RSA, support Robert with at Scotia Investments?
RSA has been supportive of Scotia Investments in its casualty program with general liability and umbrella, with crime, with automobile, boiler and machinery risks. And Scotia Investment is a very diversified company that includes real estate development, it includes greenhouse facilities, molded pulp products, it includes shipping containers, they produce paperboard, 2 power dams, so it's quite a large and diversified operation.
A whole host of industries that the three of you sort of collaborate on an ongoing basis.
It's Robert here, and I would add, to complicate those matters, is that we not only have operations in Canada and the U.S., we sell around the world, and then those operations are diverse amongst themselves, but they also vary in size. So we have to customize the program to meet the size of the businesses, and some of them, in fact, are startups. So it adds a whole dimension of complication, and therefore, again, back to the importance of a good relationship with RSA.
And this is Pat here. And on top of that, RSA Insurance has got global operations across the world, and we are operating in 30 different companies, and we have over 100 affiliates in other countries, which enables us to be aware of the insurance needs in the various countries and be able to come to the table with a product or a solution when required.
And if I could add on that, the other thing is that provides me not only the global reach, but I get the local service because I'm the big fish in a small pond here, whereas if I was some little guy in some giant program somewhere else in the world, I may not get the attention and the turnaround on the service side, elsewhere.
Just out of curiosity, how long have you three gentlemen been collaborating and working together on insurance strategies?
Well, I think over the years, that would go back decades. For the three of us involved, that would go back probably the better part of 16 years, but for the three of us in our organizations, it probably goes back into the 60s.
Finally, I'd like to ask one last question, and perhaps I'll start with you, Robert. What are the top 3 benefits, in your opinion, of insurance planning done in a collaborative partnership?
I would say, as it was mentioned before, we've moved from a transactional-based format to a relationship. So what we have is, superior product and service. So that I would put that in the category of professionalism. And the second one would be the pleasure around the service and the relationship, the continuity, all of those elements. That's a matter of respect, support that transcends good markets, bad claims experience, and that. And then finally, I think everyone wins from a personal level, professionally within their own firm. So that translates into greater success for our organizations and for all of us as we move through our career.
Excellent. Terrific. And Paul, what about you? What are your top 3?
Well, I would echo Robert's comments. I think number 1 is the development of that trust and respect. Number 2 would be that insight that we gain, the competitive and comprehensive product development that we're able to do because of that relationship that we've built. And third would be that we're focused on finding the best solutions to issues and our problems as they may arise, and it's that supportive and open dialogue and discussion that's important.
It's a more creative process, isn't it?
Yes.
And Pat, what are your top 3?
Well, they wouldn't be too far off from both Robert and Paul, but I guess I would start number 1 with relationship, and it's all about knowing the parties involved. We know what the intent is of each person. We know the integrity. If there are problems that come up, we can discuss them amongst the key players and move them all the way down the line within the organizations. Number 2, I would tend to say, is all around the professionalism issue. In each of our areas, we've got great technical expertise around what we each do in each of our companies, and so the knowledge and the expertise is very high, and it makes it a lot easier to come up with solutions and work our way around problems when they're there because there's a mutual understanding. And third is probably risk control. There's an ownership of the risk issue from both the client, the the customer, and Royal Sun Alliance. And when we have these three things all moving together, we're actually looking at a scenario that allows all of us to keep moving in our business and moving it forward.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. That gives you some of the insights that are part of the new face of insurance. And I'd like to thank very much our expert guest today, Robert Patzelt, Vice President, Risk Management and General Counsel, Scotia Investments, Paul Croft, Senior Vice President, Regional Manager of Client Services, Aon, and Pat McNally, Regional Vice President of the Atlantic Region for RSA Insurance. This is our first episode in a series called RSA Insurance Planning 2.0, the new insurance paradigm. Thank you very much.